To help me succeed in the postgraduate entrance exam, my grandma actually asked me to send her my admission ticket number. She said she wanted to pull some strings for me. I was shocked and refused. "Grandma, this is a national exam. Using connections is illegal," I told her firmly, but then she casually sent me a voice message. Her tone was arrogant, almost smug, as she said, "The person I'm pulling strings with isn't bound by the law." I was stunned. What the hell was that supposed to mean? I quickly and quietly asked my dad about it. That's when I found out the connection my grandma mentioned was Bodhisattva. I nearly passed out from relief. Oh, so that's what she meant. I relaxed and sent her my admission number, but then just a day after my exam results came out, I got reported. The school called me in for questioning. I sat in a quiet, cold office facing 3 stern university administrators and 2 professors from the graduate exam committee. They showed me a screenshot of my WeChat conversation with my grandma. I was utterly dumbfounded. That chat was only visible to my family or maybe my girlfriend, Willow. My mind was racing. Who could have done this? I stayed calm and showed them my full conversation with my dad. "Look," I said, "this is the connection my grandma was talking about. She prays to Bodhisattva and that's it." Honestly, she dabbles in Confucianism, Buddhism, and Taoism. After the exam, she even admitted it herself. The professors and administrators were speechless too. I added, "If praying to deities counts as pulling strings, then how many people in this country are guilty? Probably millions." In the end, they just offered me some half-hearted comforting words and let me go, but as I got up to leave, I narrowed my eyes. "Can I ask who reported me?" One of the leaders said it was an anonymous report. "We don't know who sent it. The report had come from a non-verified Gmail account and was sent to the Ministry of Education's exam office. The ministry contacted the school to verify its authenticity." Fine, I thought. If they won't tell me, I'll figure it out myself. The image they showed was clearly a photo of my phone screen, not a forwarded message, not a screen recording. A literal photo of my WeChat conversation. That could only mean one thing. Someone close to me took it. Lately, only my family, my dorm mates, and my girlfriend had access to my phone. I quickly ruled out my family.as for the others. My friends knew I had no special connections. They'd watched me grind for this exam every single day for 6 months. Wake up at a.m., study till midnight. No parties, no breaks. Nothing but textbooks and caffeine.so. If any of them had seen that message and chose to take a secret photo, instead of just asking me what it meant, then that wasn't curiosity. That was pure malice. I got back to the dorm. My 3 sworn brothers were huddled around a steaming pile of fried noodles with fermented herring. When they saw me, they immediately called out, "Come eat, come eat. Don't let the smell scare you. This is brotherhood food." Watching those 3 fight over fried eggs and stink up the whole room with joy actually eased some of my tension. I mean, come on. Anyone who eats fermented herring willingly can't be that evil, right? I cleared my throat. "Guys," I said, "someone reported me for cheating on the grad exam." All 3 turned serious. "Not me," they said in creepy perfect unison. Bob was the first to explain. "I've been busy with my internship. Plus, we've got no beef. Reporting you wouldn't do anything for me." Chuck said, "We're not even applying to the same grad school. And I did pretty well myself. I've got no reason to sabotage you." Billy just shrugged and said, "My family's rich." I looked at them, nodded slowly. "You all smell the same. I trust you, but I need your help to figure out who actually did it. If you help me crack this case, I'll treat you to a full luxury feast." Suddenly, the air in the room shifted. Bob, Chuck, and Billy sat up straighter than they ever had in class. Bob leaned in. "All right, who are your suspects?" I said. "David and Willow." David was my childhood friend. We'd known each other since elementary school. Willow was my high school sweetheart. We'd been through everything together. To even suspect them felt like betrayal, but Chuck was sharp. "Wait," he said. "Neither of them are even taking the post-grad exam. Why would they report you?" Bob nodded. "Exactly. What would they even gain?" Billy added, "If it's not us and not them, then the one who reported you must be." They all looked at me with wide eyes full of pity. A cold chill crawled down my back. No way. It couldn't be someone in my family. I'm an only child. We're not rich, but we're doing fine. They're counting on me to succeed. Why would they want me to fail? When logic fails, ask questions. That's what mouths are for, not just shoving noodles in. So I called my dad. I told him everything, the report, the suspicion, and our analysis. He flipped out. In the eyes of reckless boys, we are but FLIs, they kill us for sport. He shouted, quoting Shakespeare's King Lear like a man possessed. Okay. There's no way someone that dramatic would report his own son. I immediately apologized. Dad, sorry. My bad. Next time you sneak out fishing, I'll cover for you. Crisis averted. Then I heard my grandma in the background. She said, "What's the big deal? I'll look into it for you. Give me a few minutes." Then she hung up. The guy stared at me. Bob asked, "Wait, your grandma can do that kind of thing?" I shrugged. Beats me. 5 minutes later, my phone rang again. I picked up. My grandma's voice came through, calm and confident. It was that Willow girl, or whatever her name is. Your girlfriend. The dorm fell silent. Wait, what? I asked, totally confused. How do you know? The four of us huddled around the phone like little kids at story time. Grandma said. I asked Bodhisattva. He told me, George, you have to trust me. Bodhisattva is never wrong. We all went dead silent. After I hung up, Chuck hesitated. Maybe call Willow. Just fish for a reaction. I didn't want to, but I knew he was right. I stepped out onto the balcony. Not because I didn't trust my brothers, just I had a bit of manly pride. Didn't want them watching me crumble on the phone. 30 minutes later, I came back. My face was dark. My phone was hot from all the emotional heat. They'd eaten everything. Not even a drop of soup left. Chuck asked. So, I muttered, damn it. It was that sneaky witch. When Willow answered, her voice was trembling. Clearly guilty, I casually bragged about my score, said I'd take her to that Michelin restaurant she'd been obsessed with. Normally, she would have screamed with excitement, but instead, she said, "You'll be stressed with grad school soon. Don't waste your money. This is a girl who practically worships money. And now suddenly she doesn't want to spend mine?" That's the biggest red flag I've ever seen. My 3 brothers were speechless. The dorm was dead silent. After a few minutes, Chuck quietly said, can you give us your grandma's WeChat? I've got something I want to ask her. Bob and Billy immediately raised their hands. Me too. I sighed and shared the contact. We all tried to figure out Willow's motive. I'd been disqualified, but what had she gained? Finally, one of them said, maybe we should ask your grandma to talk to her connection again. I asked my grandma. She replied, you're a college student in the new era. Believe in science. Don't go around being superstitious and clinging to feudal nonsense. I was caught off guard. Then she said, she had the nerve to report you, and you're the one too embarrassed to confront her? And you're still not breaking up with her? Don't tell me you're a simp just like your uncle's son. I had no comeback. Grandma won. Mio. I felt insulted. Sure, I'll admit I'm a bit of a simp, but absolutely do not compare me to Martin. Martin just graduated from college and now works as a game booster. He got involved with this streamer girlfriend whom he only sees once or twice a year. And even though the guy makes $500,000 a year, he hands over all his earnings to her. Meanwhile, he can't even afford a 15 yuan takeout meal. Maybe that gold digger took some kind of masterclass in psychological manipulation or something, because Martin regularly posts emotional updates on WeChat like, she doesn't take money from anyone else, only from me because she loves me. And when people try to talk sense into him and warn him he's getting scammed, he just shrinks into himself and says, she's different. So yeah, when Grandma compared me to that, I felt seriously disrespected. I slammed the WeChat chat shut and angrily opened Willow's. I texted, Willow, have you had dinner? Yeah, I was planning to use dinner as an excuse to get her to meet up, then confront her and break up, but she replied, already ate. I actually wanted to eat with you. But since I'm dieting recently, I ate early. Hubby, I'm going to bed now. I had a low-calorie meal, and I'm afraid I'll get hungry and can't sleep. I'll come find you in the morning, okay? Let's have breakfast together. I was just about to text something cheesy like, babe, you don't need to diet, when Bob suddenly grabbed my hand. With a face full of disbelief, he said, are you freaking dumb? You still don't get it? Get what? He said, it's obvious she's got something planned tonight and didn't want you bothering her. That's why she pretended to go to bed early. She's basically telling you, don't contact me tonight. ... So that's what this was. I really am a complete failure at this whole dating thing, huh? Bob said, check where she's going tonight. He snatched my phone, clearly excited. Bob's a self-proclaimed expert in dorm room detective work. The guy thrives on petty mysteries. First, he checked Willow's TikTok follows, then her WeChat friends, then looked into her family plan connections, and finally he tracked down a rideshare payment of 17.8 yuan. Now, Willow's school is way out in the suburbs. There's a direct bus to downtown, but if you take a cab, it'd be at least 30 yuan. So clearly she didn't take a cab downtown. Bob scratched his chin like Sherlock. I remember a new shopping mall just opened on the south side of the city. From her school, a ride there would cost about 17 yuan. I swear I could cry. Here he was, unraveling a case, and still found time to give the gold digger a nickname. He said, "They're up to something tonight. I'm not busy, I'll go with you and check things out." Before I could even respond, Bob had already slung his backpack on and was waiting for me at the dorm door. All right then. I followed. We called a cab and headed to the mall on the south side. It was a bit far, at least a 30-minute ride. On the way, Bob seemed deep in thought. Suddenly, he looked up and asked, "You still have your girlfriend's hot pot membership account, right? I remember a year ago, when our dorm went out for hot pot, you used her membership." I blinked, confused. "You want hot pot? Didn't you just eat fried noodles?" I was stunned. Maybe all that sleuthing had burned so many calories he was hungry again? Bob cursed. "I honestly don't know how your brain managed to score such high marks." He smacked me on the head and scowled. "Fucking stupid. I meant you should log into her membership and check if she placed a hot pot order." Ah, that made sense. No college student can resist hot pot, and no shopping mall opens without at least one hot pot place. If Willow was on a secret date, hot pot was a strong possibility. I quickly logged into her account and bingo. Someone had used her hot pot membership to place an order, and the worst part, the receipt was full of all my favorite dishes. Pig brain, duck blood, beef tripe, you name it. I was instantly furious. Every time I paid for hot pot, she'd act super picky and ban me from ordering those dishes. She used to say they made her nauseous, that I had zero emotional intelligence, and who brings a girl on a date and orders gross stuff like that? And that wasn't even the worst of it. One time I tried to use a group discount coupon, and she flipped. Told me that using deals was disrespectful to women, as if it meant I thought she wasn't worth full price. Back then, I got flustered and snapped, "If you're not paying, then shut up. Whoever pays decides. Otherwise, you pay." She burst into tears immediately. Said she hadn't graduated yet, had no money to eat out, that her family favored boys over girls and gave her barely any allowance. She cried about her tough childhood and how all she wanted was to feel spoiled for once. And here I was being cold and mean. Honestly, I was just too thirsty for her body and didn't care about the money. So I caved, but now seeing that hot pot order, I was boiling inside. Bob tried to calm me down. "Don't get too worked up. At least now we know the gold diggers at the hot pot place. Saves us the trouble of sweeping the whole mall looking for her." We arrived shortly after. Bob dragged me down to the basement level where the hot pot place was. The staff were super friendly. For once, my brain actually worked fast. I told them, "An old friend's eating inside. We haven't seen each other in ages. I want to surprise her." The waiters immediately caught on and subtly looked the other way. The restaurant wasn't too big. It didn't take long before we spotted Willow in a corner booth sitting across from a guy. Bob muttered, "Wait a sec. Is she out of her mind? She cheats on you and reports you?" I couldn't wrap my head around it either. The guy did look familiar, half crouched behind a chair. I stared at him. He was scooping meat into Willow's bowl, wiping her mouth, telling her jokes. She was laughing like a maniac. That bastard. I didn't need to see more. I stormed over. Willow froze, stunned. "You? What are you doing here?" I gritted my teeth. "Didn't you say you already ate dinner? What the hell is this?" I was ready to slap her. My body tensed. But then a guy's voice cut in. "Bro, what's going on?" I turned, and to my absolute shock, it was Willow's brother, Makoto. He smiled awkwardly. "George, it's a misunderstanding. I'm Makoto, remember? My sister hasn't done anything to betray you." He kept going. "She and I actually wanted to invite you too, but Willow said you've been super stressed with exams and your stomach's been acting up, so you can't eat spicy food. We decided to come secretly, didn't want to tempt you or make you feel bad. Come on, bro, you're not seriously mad, are you?" They took turns explaining, one sentence after another, and just like that, my big dramatic moment fizzled into awkward silence. I just stood there, frozen. Then Bob cut in. What are you talking about? Let me tell you something, my brother. George is famously known as the Komodo dragon of City A. That man's stomach is made of iron and runs on weird food like a machine. He could down 3 bowls of boy pea soup and still ask for dessert. And you call this spicy? Please. He grinned and added, today he just felt like eating light, so he dragged me out for hot pot. If we'd known you hadn't had dinner yet, George wouldn't have brought me along. Quick on his feet, as always, Bob glanced casually at the table and said, George, look at this, these are all your favorite dishes, huh? With things laid out like that, Makoto had no choice but to invite us to join. Maybe everyone had their own secrets, but the meal was awkwardly quiet, well, except for Bob. He was having the time of his life. By the end, he'd ordered 5 extra portions of shrimp balls, 4 of pig brain, 3 of beef tripe, and 2 of duck blood sausage, and packed them all to go. Makoto's face got darker with every extra dish. Finally, Willow couldn't take it anymore. She snapped, George, what's up with your roommate? Fine, if he's eating but packing food too. My brother's still a student working part-time. He doesn't have that kind of money. Huh? Bob looked up, confused. Is packing food not allowed? We've still got 2 roommates waiting back at the dorm. George used to treat everyone. Didn't Bob used to take leftovers home for his roommates too? Makoto forced a smile. It's fine. Pack as much as you want. Then he shot Willow a look and added, if it's not enough, we can order more. Bob didn't hold back. He added 2 portions each of beef rolls, chicken rolls, and lamb rolls to the list. When it came time to pay, Makoto's hand was visibly shaking. Bob's backpack finally came in handy. It fit all the takeout boxes perfectly. After we left the hot pot place, Willow turned to me and said, it's getting late. I should head back now. It was only PM before I could say anything. Bob chimed in, yeah, better head back soon. Any later and the food will get cold. Willow let out a quiet breath of relief, then pressed her lips together and said, George, you and your roommate head back first. My brother will take me home. Bob replied casually, cool. We'll go first then. He pulled me along. And under Willow's gaze, we walked out through the mall's main entrance. 5 minutes later, we came back. We saw Willow and Makoto walking side by side into the elevator. It stopped on the 4th floor. Bob and I took the next one up. We followed them and watched them go straight into the cinema. I pulled out my phone and checked the theater schedule. At 8:15 p.m., a romantic movie was starting. What the actual hell? Willow and Makoto are pulling that kind of stunt. What kind of sick, forbidden kink is this? Back when I was chasing Willow, Makoto helped me out so much. If they were secretly handling things in-house this whole time, then why drag me into it? I suddenly thought of those special videos I'd seen online. Don't tell me I was part of their twisted roleplay? Jesus Christ, that's disgusting. Back at the dorm, Bob and I immediately updated Chuck and Billy on everything. They were so disgusted they nearly dropped their shrimp balls. Billy suddenly said, wait, something doesn't add up. I looked at him. What do you mean? He continued, Makoto has a girlfriend. How do you know that? I asked. This just kept getting messier, Billy explained. Remember when we were chatting in the group about outrageous dating stories? One of my friends from a campus club mentioned his roommate had a goddess of a girlfriend. She literally bought him a Switch as a holiday gift. That roommate was Makoto. Billy said, hold on, let me confirm a few things. He pulled up that friend's WeChat and started typing fast. 20 minutes later, the whole story came out. Willow was that goddess girlfriend who spoiled her man, and she and Makoto, not siblings like Willow told me, they were childhood friends, neighbors, basically grew up together. Even worse, Makoto was aiming for the exact same graduate program as me, same school, same advisor. And that advisor had already said he'd only take 1 student this year. Makoto's exam score lower than mine. So now we knew exactly why Willow reported me for cheating. Chuck frowned. That's sick. I can't eat anymore. He couldn't even hold his chopsticks steady. I felt just as nauseated. I'd been dating Willow for over a year. Out of 10 dates, Makoto showed up for at least 8, always saying he was worried about her safety and had to personally pick her up and drop her off, but he was smooth with words, always calling me bro. After a few drinks, he'd even get emotional, telling me how much he approved of me, how happy he was that his sister was in good hands. I never thought anything of it. Just figured they were close siblings. Willow had even told me if We end up together and my dad doesn't approve. My brother can vouch for you. I was so naive. I really thought I'd lucked out with a chill future brother-in-law. I completely fell for Makoto's bro routine. I paid for his stuff, helped him out anything from cigarettes and bottled water to covering his rent and plane tickets. Willow told me their family was struggling financially, and Makoto's part-time job income had to go toward household expenses. That's why he couldn't pay me back. I didn't think much of it. Figured it was just me doing my part. You ask why I was such a sucker? Because Willow was beautiful and a master of emotional blackmail. She'd constantly say things like, "Is this really that expensive? I give you emotional value too, don't I? You think dating me doesn't cost money? Me showing up with full makeup and just sitting there, that's already me paying my share." She even said, dead serious, "After we get married, to keep you from spending irresponsibly, you should hand over your salary. Not for me to use, but so we can build a shared account. I'll save it for us, and if you ever need anything, you can come to me and I'll help within reason." I didn't agree with that logic, but I thought maybe she was just trying to plan for our future. She was young, maybe her values hadn't matured yet. People change with time, right? But now I realized she was nothing but a manipulative, shameless scammer. She played with my heart, stole my money, and even tried to sabotage my academic future by reporting me. I was blind. Completely blind. Bob leaned in. "What are you gonna do?" I smiled. "They like playing games, huh? Then I'll give them a damn good show." A plan was already forming in my mind. I'd make sure Makoto failed his grad school exam. I'd make sure Willow got fired from her internship. I'd expose every filthy thing they'd done. And I'd make them apologize face to face. What's the first step? My roommates were buzzing with curiosity, not willing to miss a single detail of how I'd tear that gold digger apart. I pulled out my phone. "The first step," I said, "is to transfer money to the gold digger." On the screen was a WeChat message from Snake Willow. "George, your roommate packed way too much food tonight. My brother was afraid you'd be embarrassed, so he paid for it first. It was $478 in total. Let's split it. You know my brother doesn't have much money right now. That's his whole week's living expense." All three of them gagged in perfect sync. Bob sneered. "A whole week's living expense? If they're that broke, how do they have time to go watch movies? And the movie's not even halfway through yet," I added. "She couldn't even wait until it's over to ask me for money. She's testing me," I explained. "We showed up unexpectedly tonight. She's scared I might suspect something between her and Makoto. So now she's testing my reaction by asking for money. If I hesitate, she'll know I'm onto her." Of course, I wasn't willing to pay this ridiculous amount, but if I wanted to carry out my plan, I had to stay calm for now while my roommates clicked their tongues. I transferred $239. Snake Willow didn't accept it. She sent it back. Bob looked surprised. "She was really just testing you." Then another message popped up. "Babe, you miscalculated. You and your roommate plus the 2 roommates you brought food for, that's for people. You should be paying $318.66. Bob slapped himself. I was too naive. I sent $319. She accepted it immediately. After pocketing the money, Snake Willow sweetly reminded me to get some rest, then calmly went back to watching her movie. The next morning, just like she said, Willow came by with breakfast. I deliberately ignored her calls and let her wait. She stood there for a full 30 minutes. When it was clear she was getting annoyed, Bob finally went downstairs looking like he was being forced at gunpoint to meet her on my behalf. He said, "Go back. George drank a lot last night. He's not in the mood to see you." Bob had his phone on speaker, broadcasting everything to me. Willow asked, "What happened? Did something go wrong?" Her voice was tense and confused. Bob let out a long sigh, then cursed. "No idea which brain-dead bastard with no asshole reported George's post-grad exam results. The school said the higher-ups are investigating strictly this time. They'll try to help him, but chances aren't looking great. You know how hard George has been studying these past few months. Who the hell could be heartless enough with a soul as dead as their entire family to report him, knowing he was clean?" "Willow, don't you think so? People like that, they deserve to get hit by a car the moment they step outside. That would be karma catching up." Willow stammered, well, that." Meanwhile, Chuck, Billy, and I were dying, struggling not to laugh in case the sound carried over. But Bob wasn't letting up. He kept pressing Willow. "You're George's girlfriend. He really likes you. You should stand by his side on this. Come on, Say it with me. The person who reported George should get hit by a car. After a long pause, Willow's trembling voice finally came through. The person who reported George should get hit by a car. Bob nodded. Good. Hand over the breakfast and go home. When George feels a bit better, he'll give you a call. He probably couldn't hold it in any longer and rushed to end the scene. When he got back to the dorm, we were all laughing our heads off. He threw the breakfast straight into the trash with a look of pure disgust. Your girlfriend is something else. A full-blown gold digger. Even scam artists at least give you a little candy first. She brings you to buns and doesn't even bother with a drink. That afternoon, after barely pulling myself together, I called Willow. Over the phone, I told her, let's not see each other for a while. Willow sounded panicked. Babe, did I do something wrong? Don't ignore me. I said, it's not that you did anything wrong. I'm just in a bad mood. My tone was gloomy. My parents want me to go home for a couple of months and take a break. They're trying to help me find a job. To keep her calm, I forced myself to say something so disgustingly sweet it made my skin crawl. Willow, now that I didn't get into grad school, do you think I'm a loser? Do you look down on me? Willow let out a relieved breath, then switched to a soft, pitiful voice. Babe, how could you think that of me? I love you for who you are, not for your degree, okay? You go home and get some rest. When you're feeling better, I'll take you out to clear your head. Didn't we say we'd go to Disney together? Even at a time like this, she was still trying to squeeze money out of me. Consistent, I'll give her that. After I hung up, I dragged my suitcase out of the dorm. I really was going home, but it was to seriously prepare for the graduate school re-exam. My dad's boss had a daughter who was already in grad school at B University. Just yesterday, his boss invited my dad out fishing, and during their chat, my dad mentioned that my girlfriend had reported me during grad school admissions. The boss got even angrier than my dad and insisted his daughter help me sharing her experiences and tips for the re-exam. Of course, my dad agreed and called me immediately to come home. Luckily, our home is near B University, so staying there meant I could meet with the boss's daughter anytime for help. Chapter 5. My dad's boss's daughter was named Anna, super outgoing and full of energy. We agreed to meet at a Starbucks. The moment I walked in, she flashed a playful smile and said, as long as you follow my lead, I guarantee your grad school interviewer will be begging to take you. She was genuinely nice. A little too pretty, though. I'd met Anna's father before. Square face, thick beard, strong brow ridge, sharp eyes. He didn't exactly look like a thug, but he definitely gave off that intimidating, no-nonsense aura. Who would have thought his daughter would turn out to be so adorable with a face straight out of a celebrity photo shoot? Who wouldn't get a little dizzy seeing that? But Anna's father was my dad's boss. How I behaved around her directly affected my dad's reputation. My dad had worked so hard raising me for over 20 years. I couldn't possibly repay his kindness with betrayal. So I forced myself to remember every way Willow had wrecked my mental health over the past year, making sure my heart was sealed in concrete before I calmly introduced myself to Anna. Hi, I'm George. Anna smiled. I know. My dad's mentioned you before. He said your zodiac lacks the water element, so that's why you love eating fish. That smile almost broke my focus again. I quickly reminded myself how Willow had ratted me out to protect Makoto. That worked like a charm. My concrete heart got a full upgrade. In the days that followed, I prepped for the re-exam seriously, following the outline Anna made for me. Somehow, she had a lot of free time. Every few days, she'd ask me out to check on my progress. Meanwhile, my grandma was also very free. She reconnected with one of her old connections and excitedly told me that, according to her source, my romantic star was about to rise and I should be ready. Apparently, the romantic star signals incoming romance. Who knows, I'd only ever heard that cheesy phrase from her or read it in old novels. Between cramming Anna's pop quizzes and humoring my grandma, my days were packed. At first, Willow still messaged me on WeChat to chat, but I didn't want to bother replying. I told her I was too busy to check my phone. I made up a story that my uncle asked me to babysit his second child for 200 yuan a day, and I was saving it all to buy her a birthday gift. Willow was thrilled and finally stopped bugging me, but she kept posting to her WeChat feed those annoying 9-photo selfie grids at her office, always paired with cringy love guru captions. If Billy hadn't sent me screenshots of Makoto's WeChat posts, I might have believed her lies. Apparently, They thought I'd been officially disqualified from the Ray exam because of the report. Makoto, with his decent scores, felt he had it in the bag. So he and Willow had been traveling around together this whole time. Billy, in his undercover mission to gather intel, hung out with one of Makoto's roommates a few times over drinks. They actually became bros. The travel photos Billy sent me were all screenshots from that roommate's account. Anyone who saw those WeChat posts would have said the same thing. A perfect example of a happy cheating couple. Finally, a month and a half went by. 1 week left until the Ray exam. Makoto had returned to school to prep seriously, and I was back at my university ready to make my move. Makoto and Snake Willow went to the same university. I was from another college in the same city. The day I got back, I gave Billy a quick heads up, then called Willow to invite her out for dinner. She was a little surprised I was back and sounded hesitant. After all, she and Makoto had just come back from their trip and were still tired. So I added, "Bring your brother. Let's go to a seafood buffet. After dinner, we'll hit the mall. The shoes he wanted and the clothes and makeup you've been eyeing, it's all on me today." That did the trick. Willow didn't hesitate any longer. She said, "Looks like your uncle gave you quite a bit of money. I'll tell my brother to meet you at the downtown mall." After hanging up, I double-checked with Billy. "Your people are in place, right? They have to show up the moment we meet. I don't want to spend another damn cent on that cheating couple." He said, "Relax. When I handle things, you can trust me." With Billy's guarantee, I headed out. Soon, I met up with Willow and Makoto at the mall entrance. Makoto greeted me like an old buddy. "Bro, I've had my eye on a gaming laptop." "Huh? Planning to squeeze a big one out of me, huh?" Just then, a group of people came rushing toward us. Mix, cameras, reflectors, wearing matching uniforms with a big logo that read Streetwise Stories. This was the street interview crew Billy had hired, bought with the power of money. Streetwise Stories is a local video group, kind of like a mini version of a show like Catch 21 or Consumer Watch. Not nationally famous, but pretty well known in our city. The crew started by asking the three of us about our relationship. Willow and Makoto looked shocked. Clearly, they'd never been interviewed on the street before. But I, playing the role of a naive but cheerful college student, answered loudly, "I'm a senior at a nearby university. This is my girlfriend." "This is Willow," I said, gesturing to the girl beside me, "and this is her full-blood biological brother, Makoto." The interviewer chuckled, eyes lighting up with amusement. "Sounds like you and your girlfriend have a pretty solid relationship. She even brings her family on your dates." I nodded seriously. "Of course. My girlfriend says her brother doesn't feel comfortable letting her go out with me alone. So every time we go on a date, he tags along. But Makoto and I are tight too. Just now, he was saying he wants me to buy him a laptop." Right then, Willow and Makoto seemed to snap out of it. Their expressions shifted immediately. Makoto stepped in front of the camera crew, trying to block the lenses. Willow accused me of being obsessed with attention, while Makoto started scolding me for making decisions on my own and doing a street interview without their permission. I just looked at them flatly and said, "It's just a street interview. What's the big deal?" With all the arguing, accusations, and tension, the Streetwise Stories crew got spooked. They quickly packed up their gear and bailed. Only then did Willow and Makoto finally breathe a sigh of relief. They figured a messy little interview like that would never make it online, but they underestimated one thing: the power of money. Billy, being a rich second gen, could easily buy the rights to have that clip published. And honestly, my goal in meeting Willow and Makoto that day, it was already accomplished. No way was I sticking around and spending more money on that cheating couple. I turned on them then and there, accusing them of embarrassing me in front of strangers. Without waiting for a response, I spun around and stormed off. I jumped into the first cab I saw and left. Meanwhile, those two were still standing there, mourning the loss of their seafood buffet, their clothes, makeup, and the laptop Makoto was dreaming about. As soon as I got in the car, I blocked Willow on every single platform. Back at school, our dorm had a small dinner party. After we ate, we all gathered to plan our next moves. Billy suggested I stay at his apartment in the city for a few days. That way, I wouldn't have to deal with Willow possibly trying to find me. The Ray exam was coming up, and from his place, it was only a 2-hour drive to the exam site. Billy also invited Chuck and Bob to stay at his place. Chuck declined. He'd applied to a school in another province and was leaving in a few days. Bob, though, he was all about the drama. He wanted to stay in the dorm just in case Willow showed up. Said he hadn't cursed her out enough and was hoping for round to. So we went our separate ways. I followed Billy to his apartment. It was in a great area, quiet and calm. That very night, the Streetwise Stories TikTok page posted the clip from that afternoon, but they didn't just upload it as a plain clip. There wasn't enough content in it alone. It would have been swiped past without a second thought. Instead, the Streetwise team edited together a compilation of college student fairy tale love stories and used our interview as the opener. Using my alt account, I dove into the comment section and tagged the official TikTok account of Willow and Makoto's university. I wrote, "Holy crap, students from your school? I want this kind of relationship too. Forget Tsinghua and Peking University, I'm applying to your school this year." Now, their school was just an average, privately run, third-tier college. No way could it stand alongside top-tier universities, but most of Streetwise Stories followers were middle-aged and older. They saw my ridiculous comment and instantly flooded in with righteous lectures. If you can get into Shanghai University or Beijing University, go. Don't waste your future. With all that interaction, the TikTok algorithm kicked in. Before long, the official account of Willow and Makoto's college jumped in with a cheeky reply under my comment. "I've made it. I finally appeared in the same frame as two elite universities." I screenshotted the exchange and sent it straight to Billy. He forwarded it to his buddy Makoto's roommate. That guy took the screenshot and anonymously posted it on their school's gossip wall, captioning it, "Everyone go check out Streetwise Stories' latest video and try to figure out who this genius is that just single-handedly elevated our trash school to the level of Tsinghua and Peking University." College students love drama, and they were bored, so this blew up fast. Soon enough, the results I had been aiming for started unfolding. Students at Willow and Makoto's university dug into their profiles and quickly discovered they were siblings from the same college. Then, someone who already knew the truth anonymously spilled it on the campus confession wall. Willow and Makoto were actually a couple, dating, and that set the entire place on fire. Absolutely forbidden territory. People who knew them were messaging them non-stop to confirm if it was true. Others who didn't know them were digging around, trying to make connections just to get some tea, but whether they had info or not, nobody held back from cursing them out online. The outrage was brutal. If they were dating, why lie to everyone? Why act shamelessly and ask for stuff like a gaming laptop that cost over 10 grand? The public was merciless. Willow and Makoto were instantly thrown into a raging storm of hatred. Someone posted the full scandal on TikTok, which only brought in more curious onlookers. But the biggest shock that came from Bob, my roommate. After everything blew up, Willow went crazy trying to contact me, but I had her blocked everywhere. She held out for a whole day before caving to the pressure. Then, wearing a mask and sunglasses, she showed up downstairs at our dorm building. Naturally, I wasn't there. The only one around was Bob. When he saw her, he ran downstairs like he'd won the lottery. Willow, crying, begged him to let her see me. Bob, trying to stay calm, told her I would never agree to meet her again, but if she had anything to say, he could pass it along. Willow believed him. She started pouring her heart out, saying she was innocent, how miserable her life was. Now, she begged me to come forward and clear the air. She said if I just admitted the street interview was a joke and ended everything, I could punish her however I wanted. Bob listened. Then suddenly, something clicked. She wanted me to take the fall, to say I knew all along that she and Makoto weren't siblings. Better yet, to admit I knew they were dating but kept chasing her anyway. That would make me the villain. They'd be clean, and I'd be the creep everyone hated. Bob grinned, all 8 front teeth showing. Then, without warning, he reached out and yanked off her mask and sunglasses, and then he went full rage mode. "You bitch! Do you even have any shame?" he shouted. "You hid your relationship with Makoto from George, and now you want to dump it all on him? George treated you like gold. Is this how decent people behave? You're screwing your own brother? Fine, whatever, but you dated George for 2 years at the same time. What was that, your brother's homework? Just part of your little-to-player scam to make him pay for everything?" Bob's voice thundered. It didn't take long before a crowd of students gathered. More and more people stopped to watch. Someone even started filming. Bob kept going. "Pay him back, you damn leech. That time you and your precious brother were having hot pot, and George and I ran into you. You actually let George pay for your damn date. Your brother applied to the same grad advisor as George, right? The moment George's scores came out, someone reported him anonymously. That was you, wasn't it? But guess what? George is fine. He made it into the Ray exam with flying colors, scored a 412. With George still in the running, your brother can go spin a fidget spinner. Bob kept unloading every dirty little secret. Willow panicked, finally turned and ran, but it was too late. The video of Bob's furious rant hit the internet and went viral. By now, none of it involved me. I shut out the noise and focused completely on prepping for the Ray exam. Billy would update me from time to time whenever he heard something new about Snake, Willow, and Makoto just to give me a laugh. He said, "That shameless woman. Her internship office saw all the drama online and fired her. And the guy, he's a wreck, can't eat or sleep. His Ray exam's doomed." My buddy said Makoto was so sure you got disqualified that he didn't even apply to any backup options. Now he wants to switch, but it's too late. Then, the day before the Ray exam, I got a call. It was Anna. She said she wanted to see me one last time before the big day and asked me to send her the address. I hesitated. Willow and Makoto were still at the center of a massive online storm. Just like she said, Anna was waiting outside. The moment I saw her, I took her out for a proper feast. 2 days later, I received the acceptance email. No surprise there. The grad school advisor I had been hoping for even added me on WeChat himself and personally welcomed me to his team. As for Makoto, naturally, he didn't pass. But at this point, not passing was the least of his problems. The scandal online had gotten way too big and had brought massive negative attention. Willow and Makoto's university decided to formally discipline them, even considering withholding their graduation certificates. Chuck also passed his Ray exam. He and I invited Bob and Billy out for a celebratory meal. After dinner, Chuck would be leaving the city. We went out for hot pot. Billy, our rich second-gen friend, fought us for shrimp balls while casually sharing gossip he'd heard from his roommate buddy. He said, apparently Willow and Makoto are planning to issue a public apology online to calm things down. As long as public attention cools off, the school will go easier on them. But what's that got to do with me? Just because they apologize, I'm supposed to forgive them. What am I, a living bodhisattva? After dinner, we all packed up and went our separate ways. My parents had prepared a feast to celebrate. Like 18 dishes. Wasn't that a little too much? My dad said, Anna helped you a lot, and now that you've made it, of course we should invite her and her family over for dinner. Fair point. Before I could ask when they'd be coming, my grandma suddenly appeared and pulled me into a room like she was hiding state secrets. She whispered, "That Anna girl, she's a real sweetheart. My dear grandson, why don't you go chase after her, huh? Don't close your heart just because you got hurt before. There are still plenty of good girls out there. Anna's definitely a keeper. I even pulled some strings to check on her for you." I asked, "What did the Bodhisattva say about it?" She gave me a firm 3-time nod. Good, good, good.